Um, the Ireland. Anyway, you guys were headed towards a town that had been spotted by a vendor Zavaria, the Astute, during his use of a scrying orb that he had discovered at the top of the wizard's tower proper, in the hopes of finding medical assistance for the individual that you rescued from the chest world under the tower. The tower under the tower. You were passing across moorland. Of course, there are some hills in between you and there. It's a couple miles away.
Start the stream while I was making my tea.
Possibly. I was under the impression that your tea was made by this point.
Oh, I mean, it is made by this point. I was just like, did we start the stream or not? I wasn't sure.
We did. It has started. It has begun. Right.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Oh my gosh, Hannah.
Yeah. You may shut the door if you wish. The clouds above have grown darker and closer, and the light is waning fast as drops of rain begin to fall. You are all headed towards the small hamlet. You can see the lights in the distance, the fog been swept away by a stiff wind which has kicked up. There are scudding, sort of low hanging clouds, but overall your visibility is higher than it has been, well, for those of you who can see better in the dark. The storm is drawing close, and for those of you who know anything about the area, the power is flickering over here. I'm really scared it's gonna go out. For those of you who know anything about the area, you know that this rain is unseasonable. During the warmer months, this can occur, but it is autumnal, verging upon winter even, for this area of the world, and this is abnormal. An unseasonable storm in the midst of the darkened moors, and you know also that storms of this size, if it should go on for any length of time, can render this terrain quite dangerous due to the fact that it turns almost everything into mud, and there's very little to stop the water if it should build up from flash floods in the area, especially in the recessed valleys in between the hilly areas. In the dark light sort of situation that you have, the absence of light, the terrain can become outright lethal due to the fact that sudden mudslides can take you and throw you into those torrential storm spouts, so to speak. But you're moving fast. Hallie is particularly adept at navigating the harsh terrain, and is directing you in such a way that, at least at the beginning of the storm, which is not nearly so dangerous, you will be able to move without any injury to your party.
With my halfling nimbleness.
Oh, well, this is actually specifically part of your ranger training as a wilderness, a purveyor of the wilderness, as it were. You've been trained in your military training You have been instructed in ways to move swiftly and silently, even through the most dangerous of territory. You can't move other people in the same manner necessarily, but you can, you know, step where
try
I
to
step,
direct.
sort of a thing. Darkash is also pretty adept in this territory. For Shoalkeel, this is a complete departure from the normative. And a
We'll find
vendor has
berries
not
for everyone.
find berries for everybody. Yes. If there were berries here, they would be found immediately, no doubt. A vendor hasn't walked this kind of path for a long time, but once this was commonplace. The town, when you guys arrive, is very dark, and the rain has started pouring with a certain amount of stiffness. There's several buildings. None of them are terribly large, but there is one that is larger than the rest, with a sign hung over the doorway. You can't quite make out what it's supposed to depict. It quite honestly looks very much like a field of sodden earth with a pair of frog's legs sticking out of it. Like imagine the Muppets movie, the Doc
Oh,
Hopper's
yeah.
frog legs. Yeah, it's like that sticking out of the sodden earth. It looks like. Um, there are lights within. There are lights in a couple of the buildings, and but it is the lights peek through, if you will, cracks in the walls or ceilings, because the buildings are for the most part boarded against the weather, and there's no one about as the rain has begun to drive to soak you all quite thoroughly. Um, there's a mill, of course. There's the stables that you can see. Livestock milling about. Most of them have been put away, but there's not room for everything.
Um, so are we able to determine which of the buildings is the tavern?
The there doesn't appear to be like a traditional tavern, but the building I have mentioned before with the sign above it
Okay.
is the only one that looks as though it is made for people from out of town.
All right. I will walk up and place my staff directly next to the sign so I can see what it is.
Well, there's no writing on it. It is just the symbology depicted before. There's no marking or indicator that you can particularly utilize to tell anything more about the structure. It's a single story place, wider, like I said, a little bit longer than the rest. Although there is one other larger building with kind of like a circular bent to it. Maybe it's more geometric than that. It's got sides, but it's built in a manner that you can tell it was supposed to be a circle. That one sits closer to the center of town.
All right. Well, I'm old. I'm good enough. I just open the door and walk in.
You walk in, and there's fire built up. There's a large fireplace, but the fire itself is small. There is a little bar you can see, and tables that are set up around with people sat at them. You come in dripping from the rain. You are your own little rain cloud at this point. soaking the floor behind you, leaving puddles.
I'm just a raspberry cloud.
I love you, ma'am. The There is a wrinkled, shriveled old woman behind the bar. At first, you're not entirely sure, but her shape is strange. It's so she's looks withered and thin until it gets to sort of where like her body it extends down, but then it gets to like the proper torso part section, and she kind of like balloons outward a little bit. Um, but she looks short at first, and then you notice that she's even standing on a stool behind the bar. And you note the pointed ears and the slight green tinge to her hair, which otherwise looks relatively brown.
So gnomes?
Gray in spot. Gnome indeed, if you were to guess.
All right.
An elf of some kind, certainly.
I shout out behind me, quickly! Bring them in here. It is good that we found you. Is there a town doctor about?
You have drawn the attention of everyone.
Oh, I'm totally okay with that.
Three people in the establishment plus the proprietress, which would make a total of 4. There's a lock on you. Nobody speaks at first. It would seem initially that no one perhaps understands the terminology that you're using.
I was gonna say, my next instinct then is I quickly begin cycling through all of the many languages I know, starting with the most common and working my way downward as I go through, waiting to see if my companions are going to come in out of the cold and bring the sick people with them.
Yeah, Bird Person.
We have sick people with us?
Bird Person has followed you.
Okay, injured
We have the
people.
person from the bag.
He's got the lady.
I'll come in.
Really. Wet
Is there a
cat.
fire?
There's a very little fire.
I'm gonna go sit by the very little fire.
Okay.
Is there a bar?
There is a very little bar.
Is there an empty seat at the bar?
The bar doesn't have any seats at it.
So it's just, oh, okay.
It's
Darn it.
just a bar. And then there are seats around tables. There's like a
Alright,
little half wall in the middle of the room.
I guess I'll take a seat in one of the chairs. I'll seat myself in one of the chairs. For some
Okay.
reason.
All right,
strange.
so-
There are 3 chairs in total around the table that you have sat.
All right, so who is in charge of the disc with the people on it?
The disc follows you. So it will always move towards you. But I was
I don't care
assuming
about the people.
that at some point you can cast the disc though as a ritual, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, so you can maintain it, but it will follow you invariably. Like it
Okay.
doesn't follow anyone else.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that the people are just placed on that. So.
Yeah, a little weird. But you're like, is there a doctor in the house? And the
And,
woman behind the bar in a
I
Go
was gonna say I find it empty nearby a table that could like support their weight, and I begin moving them off of the disc onto the table.
in an almost geological fashion, if you will. The topography of her face kind of moving in the same way that mountains move over centuries. The woman behind the bar says, in a heavily dialectical brand of common, folks don't look well at all.
No, and that is why I require a healer, physician. I begin cycling.
yeah, you just start listing everything. Okay.
in multiple languages.
Yeah, we don't have none like that short of perhaps old Jane, the apothec, the town. brews mad concoctions up in his little hut. But sometimes it's good for what ails you.
All right, well, close enough.
She nods, like gently. Bird person perks up. Asks, where they might be found. And the woman repeats, told Gene the apothecary's up in his hut. It's outside of town now. She describes roads and landmarks as though she would to a local. Take it up past the old Miller's Path, and it's a lot of useless information to all of you.
Go up the road, and once you see the rock that's larger than the most of the rocks, you take a left, and then you'll go on, and just when you think that you have gone way too far, you'll see a dog on the corner, and you'll want to turn right at the dog.
It's a stump shaped like a dog. Yeah, this
Actually,
sort of information.
That is a true story, and there was an actual real dog.
There's a real dog.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
All right, well, I trust Bud Person with this because a vendor believes
Yeah.
he's the most competent person on the team.
Yeah, he stumbles out. Stumbles out and vanishes into the rain again. He hits his head on the way out. Thunk. Door jam.
Yeah, knowing, seeing that there is no rooms, a vendor just assumes that the middle room is a common room, and he asks the price to stay for them to stay for the night.
I let the. How many rooms are you looking for?
I am very happy about the idea of rooms if they are available. If not, the common room will do just fine. There's myself, the 4 other companions, and our two injured individuals.
I have 5 huts total, but 2 of them are already taken. She squints at you,
Then we will take
looking
the
you up
other
and down.
3.
She acknowledges the fact that you guys are clearly not the normal type of people, but she doesn't seem to be put out by that. She says, that'll be 30 silver.
That's what, 3 gold?
Hmm?
Is
What's up?
Is it 100 or?
She says 30 silver.
No. I'm saying how many gold is in a silver?
Oh, it's 100 silver and a gold.
Oh, okay. So first thing I do is I reach into the sack and I think about 30 silver.
You think about 30 silver. You get like 14 silver or so, just like pocket change.
All right. How much money do I actually have on my character? That I know
But you
of?
can recall previously that if you think of gold, it just kind of spews.
Exactly.
Like,
that's
all you had to think about was if you think about like treasure or anything, the bag will fountain out gold pieces.
right, which is what I don't want to do in a room full
Right.
of people and strangers who I don't know.
Right.
So, how much gold would I start off with? Because I obviously haven't spent any. Currency. Oh, okay. Oh, it is 10 to a silver piece. Officially, if it's different in your setting, that's fine. Officially, it's every gold is worth 10 silver pieces.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So would that mean like copper is 10 to every silver?
Yeah. So it's in systems of 10. So platinum is worth 10 gold. A gold is worth 10 silver, and 10 silver is worth copper.
So 110s and hundreds, essentially.
Yeah. So I will at the moment I will just all right. So then if that's the case, then I would just fumble around in my own not in the sack. I wouldn't go to that then. I would go and fumble out gold from my own personal pouch and place the 3 of it on the counter.
Her eyes get real wide, and she looks at the gold, and then she looks at you.
Unless we're going with the 100 thing, and then he would only put 1 on the counter.
Yeah. I think I want to do the 100 thing.
Okay, so then he would just place he would just place 1 gold on the counter.
I mean, economy changes depending on where you are, but regardless, if you put a gold piece on the counter, her eyes get real wide.
Well, I don't really have another choice, so.
And she looks at you for a second.
My response is merely I would like to book the next 3 nights.
Her eyes squint down real far, and she goes, "I don't have change for this."
He goes. His response is simply, "Can I open a tab then?"
She doesn't seem to understand what that means. So instead, she just says 3 nights then, and sweeps the piece off the counter.
Okay.
Okay, so
But
Can I ask
you
her
lot
how
be
much-
wanting anything to eat?
Yes,
What exact-
We have mutton.
Mutton would be mutton and some ale would be lovely.
You have some leeks too. And the house ale, of course.
Right, whatever is readily available.
Right then.
we lost Weston.
Did.
Yes. He's curled up by the fire. He lost power before he did? Oh, I don't know. He's out
There
in the
he
woods.
is.
Well, that's me trying to call him back.
Oh, okay.
I told you he's out in the woods.
Weston.
Are we just staying in a small inn and we have like a common room where all of us are staying?
There's a common room that you're in right now, but she has intimated that there are huts which she has room to let in,
Okay.
and a vendor has just purchased 3 of them.
Okay, so
Um,
because Skull is probably gonna try and go and meditate.
Immediately?
He's tired of being around people for so long. He's been wandering in the rain.
Sure.
He just kind of got out of being like, you know, handcuffed to a place and attack. He needs to go and center himself.
Okay. Is he going to ask where the huts are? Because she hasn't told anyone.
Okay, he's gonna go up and go, huts.
And she'll motion towards the door in the back of the room, opposite the one where you came in. And she'll say, you'll find them out there. 2 on the right are already taken, but the other 3 are yours now, I suppose.
He's gonna look at his party and go, I get my own hut. And leave.
Well, I'm not gonna argue with him.
Without, like, doesn't even leave room for argument, just says that and goes.
Yeah, everybody else in the other 3, like the patrons at the bar, give you weird looks. Remember, of course, they are all vaguely humanoid, and you are very not. But the person behind the bar, the old woman, as soon as the gold has been passed, is fine with you. It doesn't matter that there's a cat person curled up by her fire or that a snake person has just demanded something of her. She's good. The old guy can be as bossy as he wants. She's been paid.
Oh no.
It's just the general, like all of you just get that general feel. It's like money has made all doors open at this establishment.
I am going to pour my tea.
Look out! The tea incoming! That is wild and beautiful.
And of course, my microphone falls down.
Into the tea. No, that would be horrible.
That would be horrible indeed. I'm
Right.
done, Joel.
I know. I can hear through the door.
All
All right.
I don't know how much you can hear. I can only kind of hear.
All right. Well, I'm waiting. I'm just gonna at the moment.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna move the people make them as comfortable as I can and move them close to the fire to keep them warm.
Sure. The guy has regained some mobility. He's just
All right. Well, I guess
still recovering.
I give him I help him to a seat by the door. And do I know his name yet, or has he been completely?
Have you guys asked him anything?
I mean, since we were on the road, if he is legible, I would have. I'm assuming would have asked like his name and basic information like that.
Okay. He introduces himself as Eward.
All right.
Like yeah,
Right.
it's Edward, but without the D.
All right. There you go. Go, Yord. Sit down here. Get nice and warm.
He's still shivering from the experience in the satchel, and he just nods.
And I give him ale when it becomes available.
Sure. The woman behind the bar has called out. She called out Newt, and a small fellow, who's taller than her, mind you, small towhead kid, comes out and he brings you the ale, sloshing it around a little bit, but he gets it to you, mostly in the mugs, little earthenware mugs that a little rudimentary but workable. They've got alcohol in them, so who cares?
I want to dip my finger in my own mug of ale and offer it to David Charles to see if he wants any.
David Charles' tongue snakes out with incredible speed, wraps around your finger, and like really slowly pulls back. It's like, and then it snaps back into his head. He kind of like rocks a little bit on your shoulder, and he makes a noise like this.
I'll just.
And then he hiccups.
Oh, that's adorable.
And just because it's vaguely reminiscent of something, his hiccup sounds like a velociraptor screaming.
That's so much yes.
It's just. And at first, you wonder what just happened, because you've never heard a being in your life do that before, because you're not connected to your sister in this universe. But it slowly becomes apparent that he was hiccuping.
I will not indulge him too much in that.
Okay.
As adorable as that may be. While
Okay.
all our wizard. Oh wait, what is going on?
We were being invaded. My brother was being humorous. He,
Sorry. Yeah.
short story time. My brother will do this thing when people are over, and he wants to change clothing for whatever reason. Either he got home for work or something, and people are over. And like he's entertaining company, so he's keeping people in his room. He will come into my room to change.
Yes.
Just
He's had me turn around.
just sit in the room.
I'm like, okay, because I don't want to see that.
And then he'll leave. It's not as if it's necessary.
No.
He's
doesn't
got the
need to.
bathroom or numerous other doors that he could hide behind, but he comes in here
He walks through there.
because he finds it amusing. And then he leaves after he's done. Anyway,
He's done his little.
after he's had his fun. Anyway, you've got David Charles, a
David Charles.
side of mutton, not well cooked, just kind of loosely held together. The small vegetables, the roots that you were promised.
Thought
Root
we were
vegetables.
promised leeks.
Yeah,
Are leeks root vegetables?
I thought they were. Maybe I'm wrong. Are those? Yeah, either way. You got veggies.
Yeah, we got veggies. That's what's important.
Oh, that's why it wasn't.
Can I inquire to the innkeeper anything about the other guests, like what kind of people they are?
How
Or
do you
would-
want to go
like-
about that? But you show me what that looks like.
I turn to our lovely patron over here.
Mm-hmm. Still behind the bar. Hasn't moved. Looks like she might have grown there.
Have the other guests given you trouble lately?
Okay.
I don't know. That's like the best I can think of.
No, that's fine. The other people in the bar kind of turn to look at you. Because I assume you didn't say it with any kind of quietude. And did you say it from your table, or did you go up to the bar?
I'll go up to the bar and say it. I'm
Okay.
not necessarily like.
You're not that
to-
crazy.
You're not that crazy.
You go up to the bar and you say this. She leans. She doesn't move at all. She just says, "They've all paid."
Leeks are root vegetables.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I was like, I'm sure I didn't read all that red wall for naught. No, yeah, she's sitting there. That's all she says. She again, her face is like craggy granite, very brown granite, but granite.
Can I ask her if any strange money has been through here?
Money's money.
Darn it! I thought that would get some.
Strangest money's been through here came out of his pocket. She nods at the wizard. I'm not going to say no though.
I can't disagree. I'm sure stranger things have come out of his pocket.
You would know better than I.
I was gonna ask another question. Now I just can't remember what it was. How far to the next town over?
Which direction?
Which direction are we heading?
You guys were headed northward, towards Ilfangul, which is a large city.
Then toward north.
Nearest settlements. Probably a week out.
So a long journey.
I understand now. Northlands are taken by some marauder from in the mountains.
Oh,
They call him
is
the
he-
Red King.
Oh. For blood spilt or for fancy dress?
Hell if I know.
Know anyone coming who's coming down
I
that way?
silently underneath my breath while I'm going about my business go. They can call him the Dead King now.
Has anyone come down from that area lately?
She frowns a little bit. What's it to you?
We're heading that way. I'm trying to figure out what's ahead of us before jumping into anything.
Hmm. What do I know about this and that? I don't leave this town. How much else matters to me? As long as I'm paid, all's well.
Is Bird Person back with the apothecary yet?
No.
Has it been in a normal amount of time?
In this situation, you're not sure what a normal amount of time would be. It's been about 15 minutes.
Okay. I will give it once I'm done, I'm just going to sit by the fire, get my food and drink, and begin going over the journal.
Over what?
The journal.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time I've had to read that. And I will try and make it not look like I'm hiding it, but I will not be having its contents easily viewed by the normal patrons.
Mm-hmm. Just so you're aware, in this world setting, you guys are special, right? It is not necessarily normal for people to be able to read. Literacy isn't necessarily super widespread. In Argosia, maybe a little bit more, but you're sort of stepping out of Argosia proper.
Mm-hmm.
And as the further away you get, the less common literacy is. And more than that, the book, and I'm not sure how much of it you read, but the book is written a lot, like predominantly, though there are multiple scripts and texts in it. Welcome back, Weston.
Thank you.
The book is predominantly written in Abyssal. So there's like a lot of it is just unintelligible, insane looking scribblings.
Is Abyssal
Right, the whole
different
book
than
on a
Infernal?
napkin.
It is.
Okay.
It is the language of demons rather than devils.
All right. Well, then, if that's the case, I will put it. I will.
There is one particularly large page that I believe I had mentioned before, but
yeah. Well,
perhaps
if that's the case, then I will put away until such a time where I can cast comprehend languages and
comfortably. Yeah, sure.
Yes. As much as he likes showing off that he's a wizard,
Mm-hmm.
there are times and places to do it.
Sure. Yeah. So the like I said though, there is that one larger page that sticks out, almost as though it were being used as a bookmark, or as though it had been torn out of another manuscript and placed in an incorrectly sized book. Just so that you're aware of it. Yeah.
Cool.
Hallie, I believe you had something more that you were saying over by the bar.
Well, I was just going to thank her for her time, and I was going to ask if I had any money on me. I would probably put like a small
Sure.
amount on the table as thanks.
When you do, she nods to a gentleman who is seated closer to the fire. But that's all. She doesn't say anything. She just nods at him. Indicatively, not as though she's making any motion that he should understand, but rather that she's pointing you in his direction. He's wearing some kind of hard leather armor, and you can see a shield propped up at the edge of the table. He's a grizzled fellow. He looks like he might be young to middle age, but that travel and perhaps action that he may have seen has aged him faster than he should be. So his hair is graying a little grizzly in appearance. Skin prematurely wrinkled and tanned from sunlight.
Folks just call him Strider.
He's not smoking a pipe and he doesn't have a hood on.
Ah, darn it.
He has a meat. He's been looking at you like just like the others have, but he doesn't have the air of locality to him. He's kind of more like you, blown in.
I give a silent nod of thanks in the patron's direction.
She doesn't acknowledge it.
I figured she wouldn't.
But she does sweep the coins off the counter, which may be her way of acknowledging it.
True. I guess I'll head over to the fire. You said he was by the fire, right?
He's seated, if you will, like, imagine that when you came in, if you had turned right on that wall on the far right, would have been the fireplace, which is as far from you in the room as you could get when you first come in. When you first come in, you're closer to the bar where the woman is sitting. Then to the right of that fireplace, because this is sort of a long house, so to the right of that fireplace there's a table, and he is propped up in the corner. So if you wanted to go with the Strider look and feel, he is stuck in a corner space, but it's more as though he's trying to get as far away from everyone else in the room as possible. Less because he's trying to be edgy and more because he wants his privacy. He's eating messily.
Who's eating messily?
The man in the corner.
Oh, man in the corner. Okay.
Mutton, ale, leeks, they have been brought to you. Darkesh, even though you were sleeping, they have been set beside you on a tray.
Okay. I thought my yawn signified that I was awake, but okay, I'm awake.
Well, I just knew that you had said that you'd fallen asleep.
Yeah. Yum.
Alright. I kind of want to go check him out, but I also know that if he wants to be left alone, then he's just going to be super pissed if I interrupt him.
Possibly.
Yeah.
The question is, what would Hallie do?
Hallie, seeing the shield, probably recognizes that he's a warrior of some kind, and would feel comfortable going into the corner to give him salutations.
Sure.
I guess I saunter with purpose to the corner.
Purposeful sauntering?
Purposeful sauntering.
And what sort of salutation do you give?
Is this seat taken?
He looks up at you, and back down at the seat, and then up again. He just nods at the chair.
Right, then
He chews with his mouth open.
Like, nods at the chair as in I can sit, or nods as in like, it's taken, don't sit there?
I don't know. It's just kind of an indicative nod. It's like it's as though he pointed, but he's too. His hands are too much occupied with the mutton for him to actually point.
Fair enough. Then I'll take a seat at the table
Mhm.
in that chair, and
Sure.
I'll wait for him to come up for air.
Oh, he seems to be fine about getting air. Like I said, he's chewing with his mouth open, so it's loud and messy. Um, and he has no problem breathing, and you fathom that he could
No, well, I was making a
talk
point
without
of
any
he
issue.
seems to be emphatic on his meal, so when
I mean, yeah, but there's still plenty of it,
okay.
as there is with you.
Ask him what brings him. Yeah, what brings you here, if I may ask.
He replies after a small belch. Storm, same as you, I suppose.
Indeed, weather's turned bad early.
Or late.
It's always one way or the other. Any
He
particular?
stops to
Go ahead.
chew slowly.
Any particular purpose taking you down south, or wherever you're heading? Really, I don't know. Like, down this way, I guess would be the word I would use.
Looking for a new job. Maybe someone to travel with.
Any particular purpose?
Get where I'm going, I suppose.
Good, I just found. Aww.
Headed to the Crimson City myself. Good work there, I hear. They're looking for men who fight. Bangs the shield with his knee.
And you can fight?
As well as any.
What is the Crimson City?
This goes by many names. Crimson City, Red Gate, Ilfangle,
Ah, that is the name I know.
city built over the Crimson Falls. What lead the way up to the northern kingdoms.
We're heading in that direction as well.
And maybe there's business to be had there.
Maybe. Perhaps if my companions are not opposed, we could ask you to join us. The more the merrier, I suppose.
Oh, it's not merriment so much as safety that I look for.
The more swords and shields, the less likely you are to end up dead on the side of the road.
That's all I want. Make it through.
I'll ask my companions if it suits you. I don't want to ask them if you're not inclined.
Do what you will. When the storm lets up, we will see what happens.
I guess I introduce myself.
As?
Well, I don't yet want to give away my military rank. Public anyway, so I guess I just introduce myself as Yeah, pretty much. Let me think. I introduced myself as Callie, the wielder of the great axe.
Donna, wielder of a great shield. There's a note of sarcasm as he smiles.
I can't. I would chuckle in reply to that one. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I sincerely hope we do see each other in the future. And I'll get up. And what is a vendor doing right now?
As you get up, he says, "The moon light your way," which is fairly standard Argosian way of saying goodbye. A vendor, what are you doing right now?
He is sipping at his mug and impatiently, with foot tapping, waiting for Bird Person to get back.
Okay.
All right. Can I approach him? And I just want to ask, what's like if Y has. Pretty much, I want to go up to the wizard and be like, "The bird has not returned yet."
It's about 25 minutes since he's left.
Nope.
Should we go after him, or do you think we should just get out?
Oh, he goes, I'd give it about another half an hour before I'd start getting worried. He seems like the kind of person who is very competent looking after himself.
Then I would like to retire. Well, retire as in go to one of the huts.
Me too.
As you say this, there is a sudden sound outside over the pounding of the rain, a clarion sound of a bell ringing loudly, and a man's voice shouting.
What is he shouting?
It's indistinct from this distance.
Wilhelm!
It is not the Wilhelm scream.
I dash outside to see what all the fuss is about.
I follow on his heels.
You very nearly run into a man who's clad in a heavy coat, who braces himself as you nearly collide, and he says, through thick mustache and sort of a tattery, short beard that barely counts as anything such, says, "Help! We need to turn out as many as we can. Leighton's daughter's gone missing out in the weather and hasn't been able to find her for the past 3 hours now. We are turning everybody out. Search party. Everybody, come on."
Who's gone missing?
Need all available lands.
I believe he said the miller's daughter.
Leighton's youngest daughter.
What does she look like?
Little keel. Long, dark hair. Little waif of a thing.
How old is she?
She's maybe 5. She's gone awry in a storm somewhere.
Is there a non offensive way to ask species?
Oh, I don't know. Is
bloodline? Bloodline?
You could say something like bloodline. He might not get that. Yeah, out here you might say something like, is she a woad child or daughter of clay would be the way that they would put it.
Okay, I say that then.
Uh, uh, she's she is one of the daughters of clay. She's a human child, just a little thing.
Okay.
He's just now picking up that you're not from here.
Just now?
Yeah. He was brusque before. Guy had a beard. He's human. You're halfling. That's the demographic for this area. In the light that he has available to him, mistaking you for a local wouldn't be a sin.
Fair.
And besides, your cat friend is still eating by the fire. He hasn't seen that guy yet. No bird person, no snake person. David Charles might be kind of the thing that would throw him off, if anything.
Just resting on my shoulder. Eyes are
And the
still a little
great
wide.
axe.
And the great axe, yes.
Notably, the wizard's staff could easily be mistaken for any old man's walking stick.
All right.
But David Charles doesn't belong in this climate. And a great axe is weird on anything your size.
Yep.
So I ask him to point me in the direction that she last was seen.
He says he doesn't know. He searched all around the mill, all around the stables now. We've sent people out. We're searching the entire town. Searching out of town a little bit. We don't know where she might have wandered to, but it's apt to be floods now. The ground is reduced to mud. Even the hard packed ground in the center of town is somewhat looser.
I have an important question.
Sure.
If I were to go outside
Mm-hmm.
and try to look for traces of a little girl having been around, would that be an investigations check or a perception check?
It would be a survival check,
Ooh,
which
I
is
suck at
used
survival.
to track predominantly.
I suck as a ranger.
Well, you're a different kind of ranger, perhaps.
Yeah.
An argument might be able to be made for an investigation check, though. If you are going to thoroughly examine the area, I could see that playing out.
If he's searched everywhere, then I would probably want to be taking a really close look.
Mhm.
Like just for anything out of the ordinary, any
Typically
sort
this
of-
would be survival, is how that's usually rolled. Investigation, I like to think of as a more urban kind of a thing, versus the natural hunting of tracks.
That's fair.
It's also used for sophisticated mechanisms like finding traps.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I guess I just look at the man and just like point me in a direction, man.
Sure, and he points you down the road into town, away from the center, that is.
Okay, I just start heading off then in that direction.
Sure. Do you light your staff? Because otherwise it is thoroughly dark at this point. And raining.
I don't have a better option. So if I'm going to do it, I do it as flashily as possible.
Okay. There are people with lanterns and shouting that you can hear.
Like I
People
just
are
like do
turning
like the
out.
whole like slam my staff on the
Boom.
ground and it begins lighting up.
It doesn't. I forget it. I think you had described it before. Does it look like a dragon's head at the top of your staff? Is that what you had said? Like shining the light?
I think so. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah. So you got like the instantaneously just. He's a wizard, everybody.
He is a wizard!
We don't need to be off to see anything because he has arrived. Okay. So you shine it out. It doesn't initially seem to phase everybody. Everybody's kind of in a tizzy. It's not like the explosion stops everyone. They're all like, "Oh my gosh, the problem's solved." People are freaking out because there's a little girl gone missing. And the town is turning out to find her. You go, and there are several people who fall in line with you. One of them acknowledges, Google eyes at the staff, this crazy magical stuff, and stops. The other ones are still going though, as you parade out into the town. The night is full of long shadows, which grow longer as your light spreads through. Of course, you have the brightest light. Other people have lanterns, which shine out a little bit. Some people have some guttering torches, which fight the rain by virtue of the fuel that is burning in them. But wanly, whereas your light pierces is a superior and unnatural effect that you weave in such a way that it, though dampened by the cover of rainfall, is nonetheless extremely bright, providing anyone near you the ability to track as though in daylight.
Alright, I suck at it. But can I
I'm
try?
gonna come
can I
out
try-
from eating and I'll come help track.
Yum, 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 yum.
I have no idea what's going on because I'm still meditating the hunt. So I am oblivious to all the noise. So
Sure.
that's all
Yeah,
I
I already thought of coming to get you, but I also was thinking, you know what? Sokyo seemed really tired and probably just wants to chill for a bit. But I wasn't sure.
How much?
So what are we
screaming
trying to
and
track
yelling is
here?
There is a large amount of noise at this point, along with the clarion bell.
there? Okay, at this point, Shokyo comes out looking rather annoyed.
Okay.
It depends on how much noise there is.
There are people all over the place. What was your question, Weston?
Are we trying to track something?
Yes.
I heard the words track.
Came out from eating my food. I'm ready to go. I'm needed. What?
Alright. I turned to the cat, Darkesh, and I explained the situation to him, that we are looking for a little girl of the description that townsman gave us.
Okay. You usually don't track little girls, but I can manage this. What skills
It's
be
nice to know your hobbies are not.
Survival is used for
Okay.
tracking.
What does the 2 times F mean?
2 times what?
What now?
It says 2 times F plus 6 for survival.
That's a P.
Okay. I'm
That's
pretty sure it's a P.
Oh, it's a P. Yeah, it's got the little marker next to it.
Yeah.
it's twice your proficiency bonus, is what it's saying.
Okay. So a D20 plus 6.
Or you can just click the button.
Yes.
I did that and it didn't work last. Clicking button. Submit. Well, I scored really high.
Yeah.
It's that food that was in my stomach.
the
You are
bad mutton
satisfied.
Yeah.
and the
Inspiration to us all.
relative ale. It was the leaks that did it.
Yep,
Um,
it was the leaks.
Yes, they were the root of his success.
There. God.
So with this roll, can I like pull out a radar beacon and just pinpoint her exact location?
Well, I was going to say that it was going to be real hard to track a little girl through torn up soil in the middle of a rainstorm.
This brought me along for a reason. You need
And
someone to track little girls? I'm here.
It would be really hard to track a little girl in a rainstorm through torn up soil. But apparently this cat has trained specifically for hunting small humanoid women in terrible weather.
Oh my gosh, you made that.
I am so. Hallie is suddenly very nervous.
So you've seen what like a pointer dog that like a
Yeah.
bloodhound? Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the cat features do that. It's like a cat chasing a laser pointer light, and he's like, and he just through the night. You're having trouble keeping up with him because he's moving fast, tracking at speed. And it, like,
Does Weston make a Hobbit lay here look like a noob move?
well, at first it's yeah. At first, it's frenetic. Like he's all over the place, and you're like, I don't know what this guy is doing. But then it's like, bing! You know, the ears go straight up, his eyes get real wide, and he's like, he just starts tracking on a single path, right? So he was like all over the town square at first, and then now he's tracking on a single path. Like at first, it looked weird because he's like climbing up like halfway up a wall using his claws. He's like suspending himself in weird positions. He's bending over backwards, looking at something. But now he's got it, and he's going straight in a defined direction. I mean, it's like a little bit of a winding path, but he's following it exactly until you guys are the first to come upon this. And the small cotter of people that have like huddled around you, probably more because they're interested in the guy with a glowing stick and a cat man who are suddenly in their town. Now, like, so that you understand it, while this is odd, it's not so odd that it's like beyond belief, but the appearance of a catman is probably understood by these people as a spirit coming to their town, like like they understand it
painted
in the
lady.
same. Yeah, sort of.
Can I just point out, sorry, one thing.
Yeah.
As this is all going on, Shulkill's kind of just muttering under his breath obscure obscenities.
Oh.
Just cursing and just kind of like glaring at people as he passes by.
Yeah.
As he
That's-
follows his companion.
Okay, so you follow up to these guys. So yeah, now there's a snake person, and that's real weird. There's no denying that at any point. Also, your brilliant scales are getting covered in mud.
I know.
Um,
Which is half the reason why he's swearing up a storm. As he's just like following these companions who saved his life, and now he kind of owes them and something like that.
Sure. So you guys are the first to come upon the churned earth. There's a well. You can see the mill off, the shadow of it looming large. There's the well in the center of a small square, if you will. It's more of a circle than a square, but cleared space around the well. Stone affair, low-lying. There's a rope that leads down into it for a bucket, which has been apparently dropped and not pulled back up. But around the well, the muddy earth has been torn asunder as though by large bestial claws. The rocks of the well itself are also bear scrape marks.
That's never good.
There's muttering, and the townspeople, you can hear a name being thrown back and forth under their breath, or at least you think it's a name.
What would it take to hear what they're saying?
You just paying attention for a moment. You can catch little bits and phrases. Some of them are saying it's back, it's returned. Some of them are saying a monster. Some of them are saying the monster. And then there's the name that gets thrown back and forth. Which always ends with the 4 letters worm. Some of them put different inflection on it. but all of them seem concerned about something that they call they're calling it gosh, I think I named the guy that dark. Oh, they're calling it the Kelkil or the worm.
Now, what would it take to do a check on, like, to see if there's in the recesses, like, Shulkio, because he does have, like, he's a historian.
Sure.
Possibly, like, an ancient beast of some sort. To see if, like,
You could roll a history check to see if you know anything.
May I also make that history check?
Sure.
Can I subtly make sure that my axe is easily accessible at this point,
okay,
just in
I got a
case?
23.
I'm just gonna
And a nat
walk
20.
away.
Plus 23 wisdom.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with you people.
I mean, I also got a 20, just not a nat 20.
Oh, well, look at
a
this. Look at
23.
this. Natural 20 that equals 26. A 12 that equals a 20 somehow. And a 20 again.
Come on, give us
Plus. Okay. Yeah. So I feel like you both know the general information, which is that in this part of the world, that is Northern Argosia specifically, there are on occasion tales of large subterranean worm-like creatures that are often said to inhabit wells or deep caves, deep dark wet places. They are frequently semi-draconic, not dragons, but large elongated lizards with legs. So serpentine bodies with legs.
Would with a 20, would I know the word tassel worm?
I mean, that's one name that has been attached to it, probably academically. That sort of a word would be attributed to a creature of this variety.
All right.
They aren't all specific, though.
Right.
And the name and the legend doesn't always, like, they haven't always met exactly what the creature is. Sometimes it's blown out of proportion.
Okay.
But that's what's going on here, you can feel. And just because you got a nat 20, I'm going to say that maybe you even know a little bit about this town that you're in.
Okay.
Maybe you have read a story about a creature that resurfaces every 30 years or so.
Okay.
Maybe it's 60. You don't remember exactly the text. Besides, it was written by a human, so who cares? Yeah, they're all idiots. But the essence of it was that there is some large serpentine, what is viewed as a monster. Oftentimes, things like this are considered spirits, maybe even gods, or they could be revenge from some god. Now, out here, there's not a system of religion that follows anything resembling what we think of as like an established religion. It is more spiritism. So it is very much closer to like a Shinto style of belief. So this is like a demon or an angry spirit that would be inhabiting this place that either has not been exorcised or maybe it's a part of the life cycle. Maybe there's something that this thing gives.
At least that's what they believe it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it seems like these people are all pretty fearful, which makes sense. The ground's all torn up. There's a little girl missing, and could be a monster loose in the middle of an unseasonable rainstorm.
I swaddle up to the cat man.
Uh-huh.
And I go, and I'm like, well, my friend, you're in luck. There's a big beastie out there to be hunted.
Ironically, the halfling is the one, I think, whose ears perk up at that.
Yep. 'Cause that's my specialty.
To be fair, Darkesh
Not that
also...
the Catman. Yeah, I was gonna say the Catman's probably still pretty interested though.
Well, I don't know after how the last few went.
Oh,
I might take this one a little bit slower.
It's all right. It's just a large monster, probably in an enclosed space.
Yeah, it's just a small dragon. What are you worried about?
Small dragon,
Smashed
notably
on the head,
historically.
step on, get swatted with a tail, burned. I lose all my precious hair. Paled.
oh.
Notably, these large lizards, if they are what you think they are, tend to be covered in spines as well.
My question is, do the markings around the well indicate that the worm has come out, or that it had just gone in?
You're not sure. The tracker might know though.
Ooh, tracker.
Darkesh,
Yeah.
does it look like the worm has just entered the well or just came out?
That is a good question. Let me do a check. What do I roll?
I'll use your previous survival roll.
Okay.
And you, after walking around the well several times, you think that it. Honestly, what you think, because you rolled a 20, is that this was not made by a creature of any large or dangerous variety. You think that these marks were made by farming tools.
I am suddenly dejected.
I would say there's no big creature, and these are just farming tool marks.
Or
like digging trowels or shovels or whatnot, but it
Is it digging for
simulates a creature. Like
Ah.
they were very intentionally put here to make it look like there's something big in the well.
This all looks staged to me. It's a trap.
But hearing that, can he kind of just take in his surroundings?
Sure.
Is
What do
Anna
you want to
speaking
know?
into her mic? Because I can't.
No,
hear
She's
I don't
speaking
have
into
mic.
my mic.
Yeah, sharing
in the
mic.
background.
Yeah.
Because he's just been kind of listening as he thought of the creature, and I don't know. I feel like he would see it as a dishonor for someone to mimic
Mhm.
something like that.
Sure. That seems reasonable.
Could I do like a perception check just to see if there's anything he spots out of the ordinary besides the tracks? Like,
So you're examining the environment.
yes.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Okay, let's see what happens.
With 16.
Okay.
Okay, so you notice that people are starting to crowd in around you. They all look as dirty as you do. They all look like they've been out in the middle of a rainstorm searching for a little girl through a muddied town. There's the tracks that have been scraped into the ground. They've been scraped into the well also. But out of the ordinary. I'm trying to think. There are perhaps faces in the crowd that look maybe more interested than, horrified or shocked or whatever.
Is there anyone kind of on the outskirts of the crowd? Because usually guilty parties tend to be a little more less in the crowd and more on the outskirts.
You don't see anything like that, but you do see one face in particular stands out to you. It's a bent double over old man with a sort of a hood over, and he looks shocked and surprised, but more as in like, what's going on? sort of a thing. Not like, oh no, the little girl's there. Oh no, there's a monster here. But like, what? Like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense, kind of a thing.
Question
His very pale, very dark eyes. Big, like, fishy dark, like too big dark eyes.
Okay.
Question is Darkesh sure that does his scent on the girl, does that continue onward or does that go down the well?
That actually, so what you can tell, what Darkesh can tell, is that after this point, whatever tracks there were have either been obliterated or they stopped at the well. Although, like, so it looks like someone may have covered up tracks. Like, it starts to look like that, but then all the people started coming in. And he lost it in the new footprints that are being made all over the place. And the rain, which is kind of scrubbing stuff away.
All right.
So the little girl may not have been taken out of the well, but he doesn't know for sure.
Can I examine the well just to see if I can find anything?
Sure.
Would you like me to roll?
An investigation check.
Wow.
You have found a very solid rope. What other means of investigation do you make? Because you see the scrape marks, which, after having been told that they were made by farming implements, you can see that the weight behind them isn't heavy enough to belie a creature like the one that they described to you. And also you can see that there are not the characteristic markings of the spines that would have been on such a creature, if in fact it is the one that a vendor thinks it is. There are not the markings of the spines along the sides of the well. But it does look as though the rope, which is quite heavy and thick for this sort of a purpose, for just dragging a bucket up and down out of a well, could have and perhaps has recently supported the weight of a human or something human-sized. You can see the wear on the rope itself, like where it has been pressed up against the stone, which it would not necessarily need to have been for its use in pulling water up out of the well.
Right.
Oh, is there a fairly well-sized stone anywhere nearby?
Like a large stone?
Like no bigger than a softball.
Oh, okay.
Well sized?
You can, yeah, you and me both. So there, if you like root around for a little bit, you can find like a rock.
Okay, so pick up the rock. I transfer my.
Are you gonna throw that rock in the well?
He puts light on the rock.
Yeah,
right?
I put light on the rock and I drop it.
He's got a glow stick. So the staff ceases to emit light, and as you do so, just because I like the image, the rock, like around the rock, springs into life. It's like a tiny little fiery dragon, that is emanating the light, so that the rock has like superimposed over it, like this little dragon thing. And as he lobs it, it's like, whee! And it like spreads its little wings and like flies downwards into the well, spreading light all around it as it goes. Like it's like breathing its little dragon fire as it goes down. And the blue light illumines the drop, which is perhaps, let me do this math,
30 feet down?
It's like 100 feet down.
Oh my, you are going deep, deep, deep.
It's a deep, deep well.
I'm thinking like Ocarina of Time.
It is a deep well. So that the light passes by, but you can see watching it like all very intently that there is, before it hits the water, like some maybe 20 feet above where the water is, as the rope is dangling by it, there is part of the wall of the structure of the well that has been like punched out or punched in, and leaves like a cavernous opening
Oh,
in the side of the well.
Well, I'm glad I didn't jump down the well.
And then it sploosh, and then the glow is still underneath the water, which goes for even some greater distance.
Sweet. All right, I'm going to
And you imagine the little dragon just spewing bubbles.
I'm
Or at least I do.
I'm going to I'm going to affix my gear to myself.
Okay.
I'm going to touch the rope and make it shine.
All right.
And I'm
It
going
is
to
a
I'm going
blazingly bright rope.
I tell everyone that there looks like there's something down there, and I start climbing down.
All right. They didn't even have to cajole you to it. Fantastic.
I'm just gonna sit down at the base of the well because my job's
Okay. Okay.
Weston's already at the base of the well?
He's at the base of the top of the well.
Oh, he
Yes.
doesn't want to go?
That's what I meant.
That is what he's saying.
Okay.
Alright.
This is the thief who has learned that he doesn't have the hit points to be the party tank.
I thought I had more
Um,
hit points than a wizard. Dear lord.
The wizard has really high stats and rolled well.
Well, okay, Weston actually helps because if you're gonna stay up, Shulkil, seeing that you had pretty good tracking skills, is gonna come up to you. And since you're not humanoid, he doesn't have as much hatred for you as the humans. He's gonna point towards the old man that stuck out to him, and is gonna tell you, keep an eye on him, in a gruff voice before going down the well.
I am going to look at David Charles. I'm going I want to ask, do you want to go down the well or do you want to stay behind?
David Charles blinks. Incidentally, David Charles does not speak common.
Fair enough. Well, I was hoping to kind of understand the gist, because I now have the spell where I can speak to animals, but I want to save that for when I can actually like have a decent conversation.
David Charles is very wet.
All right, and it's stormy out, but going down the well, hard choice. The real conflict.
The moral quandary, to go down the well or not to go down the well.
All right, I don't want to leave a vendor all on his own, but I also don't want to.
No, I'm going down with a vendor.
Going
Yeah.
down with a vendor?
Yes.
All right, then I am.
After giving instructions to the cat to keep an eye on a fishy old-looking man. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Because you're giving me a look that says I can't.
No. That's just me, like, trying to figure out what the fishy old man's going to do with his life.
He stood out to me, and he has those big eyes, and I did not like it, and so kind of pointed him out and was like, watch him.
Yeah, I'm just figuring out how I want to describe what he does next.
Yeah, because the fishy old men may in fact be a red herring.
That's fine.
My wife gets it.
All right.
First, you guys live together.
I mean, I got it too.
Yeah, but she actually finds it funny, which is one of the reasons I love her.
All right. Since David Charles is wet and wants to get out of the rain, I'll take him down the well and I'll follow you guys.
Okay. So I'm going to need everyone to just give me an athletics roll. Climbing down the well.
21.
You're fine.
24.
Good God. How many of those have been rolled?
3.
Settle down, all of you. Okay. So
I made it.
yeah. So like what it looks like is this, right? The old dude who is leading the way like kicks out, and he looks like a rock climber, right? He like kicks out from the wall, and he's got like the rope like perfectly poised behind him, so he's like sliding down. He's like wrapped his robes around his hands so he doesn't like get rope burn from the rapid descent, but he's like moving like a pro. Because of that, the rope's a little unstable by the time that Hallie gets to it, but like
Wait, I thought Hallie wasn't joining us.
no, she is. She absolutely is. But with the dexterity of someone who's been trained to ride a bat for a living, into combat, she grabs a hold of the rope and just like wraps it around her arm and descends with like the grace of a SWAT team member or a paratrooper that is.
Or a Soleil performer.
Sure, yeah. Meanwhile, the snake person has just been like, elegance, what is that? And instead, you wrap your entire body and wind it around the rope. The whole sneaky half of you is just like, and you just like corkscrew your way down after them.
I love it.
But all of you make it. Welcome back. All of you make it down to this cavernous aperture, the blazing rope providing you some light from the entrance. You can see in front of you a vaulted space, sort of wedge-like, extends out in front of you. In the dark recesses across the cavern, directly opposite you, in the dim light at the edge of the magical spell, providing you vision in this space. Those of you who have dark vision, which I believe is just Shoalkill at this point.
Okay, cool. What's up?
I don't know. Does Hallie have dark vision?
Maybe. Let me double check my stats.
I know I
It
do.
sounds.
I know that you do, but
Well,
you're
you
at the
do.
top of the well at
You're
this point.
Yeah, you're not in the well.
Oh, I'm waiting to see what we're
Yep.
up against first.
As always, there is the one human character in the party who can't see anything and ruins it for all the monstrous PCs.
Well,
Brave, halfling,
no.
scout,
I was gonna say I don't think halflings get it either.
Yeah.
So
No, I was
You've
just
got
making the joke because that seems to happen a bunch where like everyone, is like,
it's like we all have dark vision.
except for the one person who's playing the human. They're like, well, I guess we need to use the lights anyway and can't do cool stuff with that.
Well,
So ruined the whole aesthetic.
the cool thing. Sorry, guys, breaking apart for story time again. Cool thing in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, in my opinion anyway, is that unlike in like Pathfinder, where dark vision means you literally just see in the dark, the dark vision in 5th edition is you see in the dark as though it were dim light. So there's actually still a penalty for it. Most people don't apply that penalty because it's extra math, but it exists. Like you're still taking a -2.
I'll be right back. I gotta use the restroom.
Sure. Which I think is cool and interesting because it's actually like it is there, but at the same time, I am actually playing that human person in another game that I'm playing in.
Yeah.
And it's actually a lot of fun.
It was funny because the reason I bring it up is because in my Pathfinder game, it actually came up 2 weeks ago. When they were invading the Might Tower.
Yeah.
They all had low light or dark vision, so they didn't give themselves away with that.
Yeah,
Because it was a half
bad.
orc, a Dampire, and a half elf. And the human couldn't, and the human player couldn't make it that week, so he was guarding the entrance. And they had a kobold with them. So they all had dark vision.
All had dark vision. That's pretty cool. Oh, because I don't think they watch this, so they probably won't see this. Did they win the kobolds?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
I was gonna say I did a good job of suggesting that something was up. Just because
Sure.
I like having the hint of what's going on a bit more, and they were doing some good rolls, so I did that. And then they really wanted to save the kobolds, and one of my PCs dropped out, so they have one of the kobolds as their long-term NPC with them now. So he was able to give them a lot of advice, so they were able to get the kobolds on their side.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Having like been the original party, because like I think of you guys' party originally as like my party too. So like having been a part of the game where people were just like kill everything, sweep the kobolds, sweep everything. They're all bad guys. I'd love to be in a game where like you actually take the advantage and make them into your army. It's cool. Indeed.
He's
There we are.
back.
Back like acne. Okay, it's a song, damn
Oh.
it.
I know, but still.
I don't know why I love the rhyme.
Okay.
You guys have descended then to the aperture. Across from you, lit just barely, is the hulking form of some large serpentine creature that appears to be motionless at present.
Oh.
So it could be dead.
The room before you is stepped slightly, and it is in a recess. So the creature is slightly lower than you are right now, at the end of a small incline. It could be dead.
All right. Perception?
I think that Weston should go check.
Weston isn't with us.
What?
I think that Darkesh should go check whether the thing's dead or not.
Nope.
I think it's a good idea.
He doesn't know.
Okay.
Last time I did that, I got smashed on the head by a troll.
True.
I
Except you
suppose I
weren't
can
checking
come
whether or
down,
not the troll
but I'm
was
gonna
dead.
hide behind the little halfling.
Oh, sure. Make the
Okay.
halfling your meat shield.
Somebody's gotta do it. The short one.
All right.
But I was once a shorten, so.
Mm.
What the?
All right.
My
That
phone,
was
that's just
somebody's
his
phone. Undoubtedly, the call is for me.
So once I have my familiar, I can just summon it as a standard action.
Mhm.
Without using up the spell slot.
Yep.
So I am going to summon Mercutio and have him investigate the thing.
I like Mercutio.
I telepathically inform him of everything that's going on.
Oh, telepathically, he sort of replies to you in, the amount of intelligence possessed by a fairy ferret. And essentially, he's like, "What's up, boss?"
And I tell him everything that's going on. I ask him to go and check and see, carefully see. If
He
that thing's
blanches a
alive.
little. He's like, "Oh, okay." So he skitters along the ground, and you get that vision that's like in Call of Duty games, where you get the little tracker device that you get to remote control. Just Mercutio vision. So everything is rose tinted with sparklies. That's how Mercutio sees everything.
Oh my gosh! And rose-tinted glasses.
He's got rose tinted eyeballs. Um.
Oh my gosh!
So Mercutio skitters into the room.
Beautiful.
And he skitters up, and you can see the bulk of this thing. He's predominantly scent based, right?
Yeah, scent and hearing.
Okay. Well, he can hear some writhing movement. You can see that the form of the thing is gently moving. But there's the smell of rot, like overpowering smell of rot.
Could be hurt.
It wouldn't smell like rot though. It'd smell like blood.
Well, it would depend. If it's a festering wound, then there can be the smell of rot depending on how, like, terrible the wound is.
Anyway, you guys don't know any of this. I just know this.
That's true.
Is Mercutio sent to investigate anything else, or did you just want to know about the critter?
Is there anything else to investigate?
Well, there is more cavern behind where the creature. Oh, I mean, sort of like
All right.
to
I will.
the side of where the creature is.
I will quietly inform my companions about the fact that there's more cavern. The fact that it looks like it's not it looks like it's breathing, but there's a heavy smell of rot in the air. So either something's up or it has a festering wound. And yeah, then I'll have Mark as far as he can go and still remain telepathic with me. I'll have him investigate a bit more.
Okay, what is his range?
100 feet.
Okay. So he gets to the other end of the cave, and you can see that through his eyes, it spirals downward. So like there's that incline of the room in kind of like a wedge shape that like spirals down on itself, almost like a conch shell, where it keeps going downwards, and there's like a small alcove down at the bottom, and you can see that there's something moving down there. But at the top of that spiral, where it begins to really like steeply wind downwards, there is also another like natural cave entrance. It's like a crag, like a riven in the rock that leads deeper into some cave system.
Okay, so the conch shell thing, is that natural or unnatural looking?
It looked like it's been hollowed out by water.
Okay.
Ah, darn it.
So I mean,
It's not a giant crab.
I can still talk, so I inform everyone else of what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Describe it again. So there looks like there's another cave, and then there looks like there's like
Yeah. Highlights. Big creature
okay.
right across from you guys.
Okay. Yep.
Just past the creature, there is the entrance into a cave system, or what it looks like. That's what it looks like. There's more cave back there, and then spiraling back on itself. So like, if the room's a wedge, then this completes the rectangle that would otherwise just be a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Is like a little spirally thing that leads downwards to a dead end. But you did see movement down there.
All right, so I'm going to try and move closer, but just enough so, like I'm not gonna try and move there myself, but I want to move closer so that basically to give Mercutio more leeway to move around.
Two.
To investigate further.
Okay. So Mercutio descends downward, and then in this cave space, there's something pale that moves fast. What is Mercutio's armor class?
His,
Of a curiosity.
he has an armor class of 13, but he also has a stealth of +5. Which
Okay.
I assume.
Is he being stealthy?
Yeah, I would have had him being stealthy the whole time. Sorry.
Okay. Roll stealth.
All right.
For Mercutio.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot where the D20 was. It's not great.
Da, da, da. Let me quickly double check what this guy is. I don't know if he has a perception modifier at all. There you are. He does not have wisdom. Oh, he does have perception though. Hey. Okay. So Mercutio is spotted. Da, da, da. And this thing rolls to grab him. You said his AC is 13?
Yeah.
All right. He is grabbed. And you see him held up in two vice-like little hands and turned so that his face is looking directly into the face of a fish. It's a large fish head.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
All right.
It's
So
and then the fish kind of like sniffs him,
yeah. So as soon as I have,
and then it opens its mouth.
as soon as I have an action, I'm going to just dismiss him back into his pocket dimension.
Okay, large teeth, and he's like, "Ah!" Just the little ferret scream in your mind. And right as it's about to bite down on his head, he's just like, and he's back off into your pocket.
Oh, I am so sure that Mercutio was in a bad mood.
If you can telepathically, they're just be like.
And you can hear muttering down in the cave. Angry sounds that are kind of like.
What kind of knowledge check could I make to try and identify what this thing was?
I don't know if there is
Nature?
even a way. Roll me.
I think it'd be nature
Roll
if it's
me-
a natural creature, arcana if it's magical, and then religion if it's extra
I'm
plane.
gonna I mean, that sounds good-ish. Give me religion.
Oh, fascinating.
Give me that old-time religion.
26.
That is a fantastically old-time religion. These creatures, if in fact they exist,
Oh.
are a race that exists in the deeps. There is a place which doesn't seem to be it seems to be transient, like it's not always in the same place kind of a thing, and it
Mhm.
doesn't always make spatial sense, which is why you think of it as an alternate dimension, which is the
they're,
deep.
They're from, I mean, so like in actual D&D, they'd be from the far realm.
These guys, so like in actual D&D, I don't know if there is an equivalent to this.
There's the far
'Cause
realm.
I don't. I'm
That's
not.
it sounds very.
I'm not.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just describing
Okay.
the far realm.
Okay. In this case, it's like so the place it's specifically because you actually know something about it.
Oh yeah, I do with a
Um
26.
uh well, because like this is knowledge that is both arcane and occult.
Yeah,
Uh it's not the normative.
which is also
People don't
his jam. So
yeah. Yeah, people don't understand this as much. The Wizards of Erisel know a great deal, which is the only reason that you have any access to this kind of knowledge.
Mhm.
That I can think of. And you know that this deep place is like it only appears in highly subterranean portions of this world, or it has been noted by some that it's potential that it also appears in deep water, and that is because at least it is thought there is some link between that because the place itself has some elementary nature which is both highly pressurized, so to speak, like it's very gravitationally speaking low, and then it is also water. Like as far as it has been interacted with, the plane itself is the only thing that it seems to be composed of is water. Um, but it is dark and powerful, and the domain of things beyond mortal ken. Like there are things there that defy the natural mechanics of this world as far as their construct,
right, we've walked into Cthulhu
and
Town.
their abilities. It is very much that. And the plane itself is. There have been some who have tried to traverse it, but most of them don't make it back. Even armed with powerful spells to grant the ability to be sustained in that environment.
And the ones that do don't make any sense.
So the thing down below, though, is one of those things that has been noted in the past that creeps out of that plane where it intersects.
All right.
But you don't know much about them. They're a highly tribalistic religious people, typically.
All right.
And their religions are generally nonsense. And they have a very powerful access to magic that they don't themselves comprehend.
All right. Are they known to eat children?
Not specifically.
Are they? But they'll eat humans if they can.
They eat what they can get.
All right.
Basically.
Okay. While Mercutio was sniffing around, did he smell anything that smelled like a human had been through here recently?
It was kind of hard to smell over the rot. There was like a great stench.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. He does have advantage on all smell perception checks. So
sure, but even so, the smell of decay is extremely potent in here. The smell of must is incredibly potent.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I would.
And I'm trying to like space it out in my head. He doesn't. There's no reason that I can think of that he would smell human here.
Okay, yeah, because I guess like my argument is that like because like the way that like creatures like like dogs and anything with a really strong sense of smell, they're able to actually separate those kind of things, into different categories. So that's why I was like,
yes, I'm still relatively positive in the brain box that I have that there's no reason for him to have smelled a human here.
Okay, all right. So I inform them that they're of what is down here and that there's stuff that there was something down here that we should be very cautious about, but as far as I can tell, it doesn't look as though It doesn't look as though anyone has actually been down here recently of a human persuasion and left. Basically, it doesn't look like they actually came down here. It looks like this was just a red herring as to where the girl is, but there is actually something down here.
Yes,
'Kay.
that's a fair assessment, and I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so I inform everyone else of that and say that while this may be something interesting to look into another time, because a vendor finds this academically fascinating, that their immediate concern should probably continue on the surface world.
As eager as I am to get into a tussle with a monstrosity of sorts, I have to agree with the vendor.
Showkill has just been silently staring at the snake beam, or the draconic.
Yeah. Large serpentine object.
This whole time, and has no desire to really get into any fight.
I can't imagine why.
Well, he also has no known of these ancient creatures, as far as my knowledge goes. So he has no strife.
Sure. Got no beef.
Nope.
Catmandu? I don't know if he's back yet.
No, I think he's on the...
Fun.
So what does what's Joel's character's name?
A vendor?
A vendor.
What does the vendor suggest? That if we're not going to go attack, we still have a little girl though. That's
Right. He wants to go back up and look for her because he doesn't think that she's down here. So he
Can you tell us that they were fish-like creatures? Did he ever mention that to them?
There is the fish-eyed old man upstairs, though.
Yeah, but no one else knows that but me.
That's true.
And I didn't even tell Weston. I just told Weston to watch him, but Weston disobeyed me and came down. Because if he knows, then Shokyo can tell a vendor about the whole fishy-looking man upstairs.
Right. I am trying to figure out what in character he would have said.
Right.
Unless plush for questions, I don't think he would have said that. He would have been too preoccupied with other things that are going on. So he would have just been like, there's something down there. There is something down here besides the worm, and I'm pretty sure that I'm fairly certain that that nothing human has been here. Has been here recently, so we should continue back to the surface world and continue the search.
Right.
All right, then I'll start ascending the rope.
Okay.
Do we have to do athletic checks again?
I'm not gonna make you do that.
Yes. We can come down. We can get back up. Actually, that's not true. It's so much easier to come down than to go back.
It is, typically, which is why I'm not having you roll to come back up.
Don't want to be stuck down here with the mysterious entity.
Which one is that? Me?
Yes.
Are we talking about me again?
Yes.
Okay.
We all know that's you. That's the race you hail from.
The race I come from? Yeah. I am, in fact, a Kuatoa. Okay. So you guys climb back up the rope. There are many people still around his environs who are all looking expectantly at you. And when it is seen that you do not have the girl, there is some distress. And you can hear whispered mutterings. Some people appear displeasurably situated towards you, as they expected perhaps that since you were adventurers of some magical ability, that perhaps you could have solved their missing child problem with ease. And you have not done so, and they are most vexed.
Can I make a statement as I see all these people here?
Oh,
Ooh.
a statement.
Yes.
Speech.
Sorry.
I
Yeah.
just see everyone standing around and like, has the child has been found? You are all standing here waiting for us. So I'm guessing that there's no more distress?
There is some muttering that goes on. People are not particularly happy about being shamed in the public square. And there are a few of them who peel off. There's one angry voice that shouts out from the crowd. How do we know that they didn't take her? There's some.
I reply, how do we know
Muttered
you
agreement.
didn't take her?
What reason would I have to take a poor little girl like that? I'm not some kind of a monster. And there is some pointed inclination towards the large snake person.
Oh, great.
A hissing sound starts to come from Shulkil the minute that man points at him, and he glares menacingly.
Oh, you absolutely can.
Gosh. Let's see how I do. Horribly!
Finally! Oh darn. There is some spitting in your direction, which doesn't make much difference in the rain. Some levied curses. Some people make the suggestion that nothing like this happens in the absence of campaigners, adventurers. Those scum who seek danger only bring it where they go.
All right. So a vendor is just going to he's just going to he's mad.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that? You cut out.
He's mad. I'm trying to think exactly how he's what he's going to do and how he's going to say this. He slams his staff on the ground and makes it light up again.
A bunch of the people shy back at that.
And he goes, now, if what would be like the thing that they would use to refer to halflings, like a wise one, venerable one, like what kind of like, because you say that like they're seen as like elder. He's like, no, he slams his staff on the ground and goes, now, as the older one has said, there is a child still missing. We believe that there was a chance she may be in the well, and so we went and looked. We saw no signs of it, so we have returned to continue the search. Now, I, for one, would like to see her safe in her parents' arms as fast and as soon as possible. And I'm not even from here, so shame on the lot of you for standing around and gawking as a member of your own community is in such distress. Have off with you, and let us continue the search as the best to our abilities, and pray to the gods that we are successful in our task.
You hear whispers shoot out. They are from around here. So it says, though that's some. Yes, he's right. There are several people that you can hear saying "witch." That word seems to be thrown around a lot. What stake do you have in it then, eh? What do you want to gain?
A better world.
there's some scoffing at that.
And may I remind you that he goes that even if I am no more than the simple hedge witcher which I claim to now be, and I was a witch, then making me angry would be a very poor life decision.
They noticed that at that point, I think it's fair to say that several people noticed that the flaming ball of magical fire at the end of your staff takes the form of a dragon. And while there's some people who suggest that you might be connected with the large lizard that they think is in the well, there's a lot more people who are more afraid of the fact that your staff can also spit fire. I'm sorry, Westy,
I
what were
got
you
two
gonna say?
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
The girl isn't in the well, so I was wrong.
A vendor's little familiar did not smell her in the well, so his assessment was that she wasn't there or had not been brought that way.
I mean, he's got much better senses than I do, so.
Okay. Okay, so I'll continue that search later. And then the other thing is, after a vendor just freaking trash talked the whole town,
Sure.
I just imagined the video I sent afterwards.
Yeah, I've been as Gandalf this entire time. Pretty much. To a T.
No, that's totally not what I was going for, to be the most stereotypical wizard of all time. That's silliness. That was not what I. That's not what I
said all that. All I can
through.
see is you turning around and doing what Gandalf does in that video I linked.
I love that video so much.
It is one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
I'm gonna go. I'll go put the link in chat.
So there are some who begin to back off, but there's also this particularly belligerent man, and there are some small following around him, and they look like they might be gearing up to do you some harm. Just the way that they posture, the kind of aspect that they take.
Are they also snapping?
They are. There's no dance fight that they seem to be putting on. This looks more like torches and pitchforks.
Darn it!
A little bit more Frankenstein, a little less West Side Story.
West Side Story fights too.
I
I mean,
They seem
Showkill's,
very-
running up for a fight.
they seem
Because
very
he's gonna piss
intent.
now.
They seem very intent on blaming somebody for this.
It's weird. It's like they're human.
Yeah, like they're human in a situation which they can't control, so they're lashing out at whoever they can and whatever makes sense.
I may not be projecting people I work with onto these folks.
Yeah, where's their trouble at work?
Always.
Showkill's ready to fight.
So I'm going to just ignore them. Okay, I'm going to seem like I'm ignoring them.
Sure.
Like basically the whole thing is like, maybe I'll like look at them and kind of just give a look like, really? Like,
The wizard has raised the fourth wall.
not even so much that, just like I mean,
I cast raise
this
the
isn't the
fourth
first
wall.
time he's dealt with people like this, so it's kind of just
Sure.
like, come on, guys, you're better than this. Like, that's actually the look like. It's not even. He doesn't look angry. He looks disappointed in them. And he turns to Darkesh and he's like, and he informs him of what he found and why he believes that the child is not down there.
Okay. I would like to go take a second look because I'm mostly certain I was on the right trail.
Okay.
Darkesh, Avender goes, I do not believe that you are on the wrong trail. I just believe that the trail ends here, that the trail you found
Oh.
ends here, and that something spirited away somehow. I mean, for goodness sakes, we have a magical bag. We just went to a magical bag and a magical chest, which we're able to pick people up and not be tracked. These things exist.
You know, I'm beginning to hate all this magic stuff because it's messing with my basic logic.
Is that like what your character says to him?
Yeah.
He just Catman looks at Wizard Man and is like, I don't like this magic shit.
Wizard Man just looks at you like Wizard Man just looks at you like you have just said, I don't like breathing that much. Like,
It's real frustrating. It gets in the way of everything I do.
right, and he's just like
It ruins my life.
he's just like, I don't understand. But he goes, well, your tracking skills are much better than mine. Maybe you should could. Beware, there is what appears to be some sort of giant worm creature there and a fish man.
Are they dead or alive?
Oh, the dragon is probably alive and in great amounts of pain, and the fish man is very alive.
Right. Can you give me a quick update? Like, what's going on down there in that well? They're just chilling there, or did you guys fight them? Should I be afraid? Should I hide behind the dwarf again, or the hobbit, whatever that thing is?
You stood in the cave and just kind of peered in. The rest of us just kind of stood on a ledge and looked out. And we sent in Fairy Ferret Dude to go and check out the cave. He almost got eaten by a fish. We didn't really check the dragon because
The fish man almost ate him?
Yes. Fishman almost ate Fairy Ferret. Fairy Ferret. Man, say that.
Fairy ferret.
Say that 3 times fast.
Fairy ferret, fairy ferret, fairy
Joel.
ferret.
Or if you want to get even worse, fairy ferret familiar, fairy ferret familiar, fairy ferret familiar, fairy ferret familiar, fairy ferret familiar.
Familiar fairy.
could be,
familiar fairy
familiar
ferret of the
fairy
Fae.
Fantastic fairy
Oh my
familiar
God,
failure
guys,
of the
this is a little
Fae.
too much.
Oh my goodness.
Is the fish man's
Fantastic
reach
furry.
limited?
So,
Like, can he not get out along with that creepy worm thing?
No, it looked like. I don't believe so. From what he's asking, Aaron, right?
Well, basically what I want to do is I'm going to try to do a climbing check and just kind of claw myself on the edges of the well and stay out of reach while looking down. While I'm also down there, partway down.
The way that works is that there's an aperture in the well, like part of the well has caved in, it looks like.
Okay.
And then from there's a room that I have sort of drawn as much as I could. So what it is there is that those arcs are like steps that lead downward, and then there's a final thing that curves down on itself, like a conch shell curves down on itself.
Mhm.
So the fishman is in a recess that can't be seen from the aperture where you come in. But the big serpentine thing is directly across at the bottom of the incline, and it is resting beside a craggy opening in the rock that leads further back into more cave.
Okay. Can I try to make it down to the entrance of that room without getting spotted or seen?
There is a rope that everyone used previously that would aid you greatly in it. So yeah, if you make an athletics check,
Okay.
And then if you want to be particularly stealthy about it, of course, you can also make a stealth check.
Yes.
Oh,
Ooh.
all right.
Nice.
Stealthily
So-
slip off the rope.
Yeah, he barely is able to climb, whereas the three of you made it look like you were the fricking Cirque du Soleil paratroopers.
I'm not used to using ropes. I usually just use my claws. This is all
He
new
is
to me.
fighting. His claws are like it's like a wet. It is exactly like watching a wet cat try to climb down a sink.
Okay, so just while he's taking care of this, I'm going to begin ritually casting detect magic, just to
Sure.
and muttering under my breath. Yokel,
Yeah.
locals.
Yeah. They are still arrayed against you, and it looks like the guy who was talking before might be working the others up. And it looks like they may be splitting off for some reason, though there are still always 3 of them together, including the ringleader. Down in the well, wide-eyed, splayed across the wet stone with the mossy wet stone. Your cat form, quiet as you can manage, as you're like flaying around. You've gotten to the edge of the cave-in bit, and you're like almost suspended upside down at this point. And you can kind of look down, and you can see it, and just kind of at the edge of your vision, you can see the large dark form of the curled serpentine thing, large scaly creature at the other end. It's rustling vaguely, like a strange pulsing motion goes on at different points in its body occasionally. All smells very fishy. And rot. There's a very potent smell of decay.
So, what I'm going to do is, do I need to redo my tracking check?
The tracking check for
Okay.
yeah, if you're going to make a survival check to hunt down here, then yes.
Okay. Wait, I gotta hit submit. Dang it. That's okay.
It smells awful. And the floor is like at least 10 feet away from you right now. Clinging upside down, being stealthy, all at the same time. Maybe you skitter down to the ground. I'm not sure what exactly you want to do with this, but either way, it's
off that
very
nasty
hard.
rope.
Yeah, it's all stone, so like tracking, it doesn't look like. I mean, there are scrapes on the rock, but these ones weren't made by tools. These ones were very clearly made by large creatures. The arrayment is perfect. They've got the precision of nature, acting as the architect behind this one. You can see that the claws are weighted properly. The gouge marks that they leave behind them are spaced evenly. It is very indicative. In fact, it is indicative even with your 10. You could tell that there are not 1, but 2 of these creatures which habitually live in this place.
Well, me being very intimidated from past experiences of getting my head bashed in,
Sure.
I'm going to say the girl got eaten by the dragon and bail.
Okay.
Wait, you just assumed the girl got eaten by a dragon and ran?
Yep.
All right. So by the time he gets back, you have your detect magic spell running, and you're all soaked thoroughly. I mean, not that you weren't before, but waterlogged does not do enough to describe your current condition.
I have experienced this current condition before.
I'm sure you have. It's like you're going swimming while standing in the air.
I climbed 6 mountains in the pouring rain.
It is an experience to be had.
So I come out of the well.
Yeah,
Like,
there's your wizard buddy
there's stuff down
there
there.
is
Let's
chanting
just say she
weird
was
stuff.
eaten and get out of here.
We're the heroes, everybody.
Yeah, we're real heroes.
I never said I was a hero.
True. You just wanted someone to go on adventures with.
Yeah. Preferably ones that don't end up with me dying.
Understandable.
All right, so I as the player, and probably a vendor also assume that there's nothing magical being detected that's going on around here.
At the top of the well, these people are as mundane as it gets. They have no technology. There's some magic. So actually, you do detect limited scale, pitifully crafted abjurations. Generally about people's door frames. And like you're like, oh yeah, I got this. This is lower than street magic. This is like that stuff that they do where they set out a bowl of milk for the fairies at night. That's what these people are about. Backwards and upside down, if you will. Bunch of hicks.
All right.
How far does detect magic extend?
Let me go look it up.
Because I already know what
30
he
feet.
would say about this, so I'm gonna. All right. Yeah, no. So nothing about the surface of the well, though. But you do detect the remnant, like eye bite of a hex that's been placed on the belligerent fellow.
Oh.
It is not magic of like Aracelian birth, which has a more academic bent to it. It is some kind of fey magic.
Fey magic. So there is...
Which is of a wilder nature.
Yep. Okay.
He's probably not been sleeping well. Just based on what you can feel.
Yeah, I'm assuming at this low level, there's nothing really I can do about this.
It's an enchantment of a kind, unless you can dispel.
No, that's what I'm saying. At this
magic.
level, I don't really have.
Yeah, no.
I have to just kind of.
You know it's there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the kind of thing that would affect him on the degree to where it's causing him to be as nasty as he is. That's like your basic insight check can tell that he's just a
right, but it's
a not great person.
It's basically like making him drunk. Is kind of
not even that much. You imagine that this spell is something like a spell of unluck, if you will. Like bad things just happen to this guy.
Oh.
It's the kind of curse that a fairy would put on someone they didn't like.
Oh, so he's just...
I wonder whether people are listening to him then.
He's just a giant jerk.
And someone else acknowledged it, yeah.
Okay.
Not in a big way, though. It's like little stuff. Like it's the sort of thing that people would anticipate happening to them after they smashed a mirror or walked under a ladder, etc., etc.
All right, so I'm going to call the group together, and I'm basically going to be like, all right. He goes, here's the deal. If we don't find this girl, we're going to have to leave town very, very quickly.
Okay. So what's the plan to find her?
Well, we can either leave very, very quickly, which is not my preferred plan, but I do accept it as a possible necessity when placed in the face of pure ignorance. He goes, I don't believe there's anything magical going on, so if that girl is around and our friend is certain of it, then we're going to have, then there may be either her or proof of her body still down in that well with the dragon and the fishman.
Right.
Anna, I said fishman.
Okay, I saw that, and I'm trying to go, Okay. Yeah, upon hearing fishman, thank you, Joel. Upon hearing fishman, Shulkill kind of, his head shoots up. He's kind of just been brooding for a while as all this had been going on, and all of a sudden looks around the square, and he kind of mutters, "Where did that fishy-eyed man go?"
He's still down in the well last time I checked. Did he follow us up?
And he looks at you and goes, "You didn't see him?" Kind of like shocked and, well, not really shocked, more like mockingly. Says, "Oh, you didn't see him either, huh?"
Well, I think we've determined that I didn't at this point, so...
He kind of just rolls his eyes like a dramatic teenage child and starts to tell you about, like, this man with the fishy eyes, pale skin, and how while everyone else was, like, freaking out that the child was gone, he had a different type of
mild shock.
just mild shock, and just seemed almost uninterested in the girl as more the beast, or what was happening.
Well,
All right. You do we know that she told the cat to keep an eye on him?
no, but she
Yeah.
does.
I was gonna say she knows. The cat knows.
Yeah, I was gonna say she knows, the cat knows. Then he's gonna kind of jab a finger at.
You're not referring to me as a cat, are you?
Yes.
Yes.
There's no other cat around.
It's
Not a
Darkesh,
cat.
right?
Darkesh.
Darkesh.
What am I doing? Someone just
Shulkill-
tell me to do something, because I don't take kindly to that.
No.
Shulkill is gonna point at Darkesh and go, "I told that one to keep an eye on him, but apparently can't take orders." Kind of like spitting at this point, as if he could spit venom.
You actually can spit venom.
I know I can, but like I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
not saying he can, because if I do, I'm gonna be killing everybody.
Well, it doesn't do that much damage.
Well, Darkesh, did you see where he went?
The creepy dude?
Yes, the creepy dude.
Sure. Did I see where he went, Aaron?
How did you stay up and watch?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I was down in the well.
No, he stayed
I
up.
thought you were too.
What? No.
What?
No, he stayed up.
No.
He stayed up and watched it, then he went down the well after we got up.
No, he followed you down into the well the first time.
Oh.
No, I didn't.
But
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
I did not. I was sitting at the
Okay.
top.
okay, then you would have noticed him slip back into the crowd and head in the direction of the mill.
Okay. Guys, I did notice him go somewhere. Not because anyone told me to do so.
At this point,
Just
Shulkill's
say.
just hissing at you, kind of bares his teeth, or his fangs.
All right, then take us in the direction he went. Let's figure out what this dude's about.
Your toothpicks. Okay.
The
I'm not taking lead this way, but I'm not doing point man.
My
It's
kind
the-
feline friend, will you kindly direct us in the way of which the fishman went?
Oh yes.
Sure, I'll stand behind you and
my
point.
Feline friend.
He went that way. I'll follow.
points towards the large mill building, which is looming not too far away on the edge of the
so
circular
weird.
structure
That's a
that
weird
makes up the square.
All right.
Coincidence, you say?
Again, all right, let's go check this out. Everyone keeps their whips about them, and again, we may need to leave in a hurry.
Keep our whips about us.
They're very exciting.
So,
It harkens back to the first time we played D&D. Can I use a whip? Well, yeah, but it kind of sucks. I want to use a whip.
Hey, they're good for disarm checks. Oh, that makes me think of something. 1 second, I'm gonna...
Nothing else.
It was fun.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
So we make our way to the mill.
Do you?
Well, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
See if we can.
So Hallie's leading the way?
Yeah, if no one else will.
Yeah, I think
I just know that Darkesh is not leading the way.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we have determined to do at the moment.
All right. So you guys move towards the well. Hallie in front, I assume?
Hallie, front.
All right. Hallie, you come to the door of the well. Or not the well,
The mill.
the mill building. So like there's stone and mortar, and then the mill itself sits on top, is made predominantly of wood, and it is in the mortar section, which is underneath what is a large building, perhaps 3 stories tall. Therefore, one of the largest, if not the largest building in the area, with a windmill appended to it. There's a door in the building. There's windows that are shuttered heavily, but you can see that there's light burning within. Even through the dark and the rain, you can see. So you're how do you approach this door? How do you seek entry? By what manner do you comport yourselves? In what manner do you comport yourselves? Yeah, I'm good.
I'd like to go up before making any attempt to really go inside. I would like to go up to the door and try to listening at it.
Okay. You could hear that there are people or something inside that is moving about. Angry voices, or an angry voice, and one that is attempting to placate.
I hear what they're saying.
Yeah, but you don't understand it.
Can I hear what they're saying?
Yeah, but you don't understand it either. I don't think. Here, let me double check. What do you guys talk? They talk that talk, they walk that walk. Where, oh, where are the delicious little things?
I mean, I think as a linguist, I think I'm allowed a check to try and... Let me double check. I think I'm allowed a check to try and,
There they are. They speak.
Try and...
Oh. They actually can't. Alright, well,
speak what?
this guy is... whatever that is. They understand languages, but they don't. These ones don't speak. But I'm going to change that. So they speak, but they are not speaking a language which I don't think either of you immediately comprehend. It is spoken in the same rustic dialect that the gnome used, but it is not common.
I guess.
Though there are some words in the language that make vague sense, or syntactical structures which seem to make sense.
All right, fine. You know what? So as soon as I hear that it's a language that I don't speak, I'm going to use up a spell slot and instantly cast Comprehend Language.
Okay. So I just want you guys to appreciate what's going on here. There is a halfling whose ear is pressed up against the door. And then the wizard comes up and above her presses his ear against the door with the floppy hat like all mashed up. They're both dripping wet. And both of them are like straining to hear, and then the wizard, vexed that he can't understand it, mutters some spell. You guys see a little bit of like spark of the magic, and what you hear inside is was meant to be kept under wraps, and the reply is. But he hasn't gotten out once yet. Told you. We don't have the male, we have the female. Beyond that, her anger is to be used in the ceremony. We must control it. We must cajole. We must not allow for expenditures needlessly. But like I said, she hasn't left the room. We've kept guard on it the entire time. We haven't moved. But yet there is evidence that one of them has been out and about. We already know that we've killed the one. So it can't have been him, can it? But if she had gotten out, how would we even get her back in? It doesn't make any sense. And yet there's the marks at the top of the well, and now the entire town is turned out. It's gonna ruin everything. He's very apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry. I never meant anything, Grandfather. He said, we haven't done anything wrong. And there's continued angry muttering. Something is thrown against the wall. You can hear a shattering sound. Not like glass, but heavier pottery, perhaps. Clayware. I can't believe it. Leaving you all alone down there and expecting you to be able to do something like half a wit. Please, there's no need to be like that. They're not stupid. You're stupid enough. Comes from your damn mother's side. There's a sound of parchment and thudding bookish noises. And you can hear the squeaking of some rusted hinge. The voices appear to be getting farther away. There's a slam. You can hear that someone in the room is moving things about, heavy objects, as the conversation recedes. And it is quiet within. I mean, besides the sound of furniture being...
So I still had detect magic going. Did they just cast a spell?
No,
Okay.
no, they did not.
Okay.
They simply left the room.
Well,
Whatever they did was mechanical.
Okay. He said that there was a sound of tearing paper, so which sounds like...
Oh, yes, there was that, but no spells were cast in that.
Okay.
No.
Right, that's what I was saying. I was making sure that that wasn't the sound of like a spell scroll being open and
Sure.
stuff. Okay. Let's just say this entire time I have been translating.
Okay.
So everyone knows what was said.
Okay.
Okay. So it seems they have something to do with creatures we saw below.
Yeah, it seems like
But this isn't a girl. So on the one hand, it's terribly interesting. On the other hand, we have an important matter to get it at hand.
Oh, we don't know it doesn't have anything to do with the girl. I mean, it sounds like they've been doing something which has awakened the dragon, which sounds like they've captured one of the tussle worms, and now then they want the other one to be upset or wounded and start lashing out. But if they didn't want us to know about the worms, then why is there fake symbols on the thing? And who's the she that they're referring to? And who wants to go in there and just capture them and knock some sense into them until they tell us everything that we want to know?
I'm in.
At that point, Showkill was like, if you weren't going to suggest it, I was just going to barge in myself. Really exasperated.
he makes the motion for like you two be like, have at it. You're the tanks.
All right then. I am going to I am going to remove David Charles from my shoulder and
Sure.
delicately go over to Wizard. Hold this for me.
I look at you like he's like, I'm going to be right behind you.
David Charles, at being called an it, makes it sound like.
I apologize. I thought you didn't understand common. Can't pick and choose.
It could also be that you grabbed him around his midsection and he feels like he's being squeezed.
I apologize. Would you please hold David?
Again, I'm coming in right behind you.
Hold him for this.
Fine, I hold him.
All right. I take a couple steps back, and I want to charge the door.
Okay. Make me an athletics check.
Wait, when left?
What?
Make me a
Oh,
strength
no, I meant
athletics
Anna.
check.
I meant Anna.
Oh. Anna is currently talking to Josh.
Sorry.
Okay. Athletics.
You slam into the door with your shoulder. It rocks on its hinges as they splinter inward. It is a fairly solid make. Your shoulder hurts. But the door caves. And slams downward as you pry it free of its moorings. You have successfully kicked in the door. There is a very shocked-looking person in sort of a overall-like garment. The tunic underneath. They're pale in complexion with skin that could be described as blubbery. Minimalistic amounts of hair and large dark eyes.
I simply
They look surprised, with the mouth hanging open. Huh?
Hi, honey. I'm home.
You guys are freaking the bad guys in a Bay horror film. Okay. It's Johnny. Okay. All right. Now, so you, hi, honey, I'm home. The figure grabs it, whatever is nearest them, gets a frying pan, and lifts it over their head. Bits of food fall out and drop, smear across their overalls. And they're like, dumbfounded. They say, "Go, you! Go!"
All right. So at this point, the wizard saunters in and goes. Oh, come on now. Was that really necessary? You have to excuse my partner here. She's a little anxious with the whole disappearance thing going on. I'm sure you can understand.
This is not your house. Get out!
No, it's not.
Shulkill comes in afterwards and goes, "Oh, so inviting, aren't we?"
I invite you in. Get out!
He looks straight
Go! You'll see the backhand of my.
He looks
my
straight.
iron.
He goes straight into him and he goes.
Oh, really?
He goes. This isn't our house. In such a tone to try and confuse him.
So you just
I
want
wanna
to
make
start?
So at this point, Shulkill is just tired of all the talk and wants to go up and just punch the guy in the face.
So you roll. You should have an attack roll for unarmed strike. I'm not sure if I put all of your attacks in under combat. I'm not sure. You at least have the dagger roll, which I think is the same as your punching.
14 to tell him that this is our house and not his house.
Okay, so simultaneously we have this going on. Wait, this isn't our house? And then all of a sudden the snake comes up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you hit. Alright, so, you're a beautiful person. So, bring the die roller up for me real quick, and then switch it to a D4, and then you add your Dex modifier, which I think is a 3. Okay, just so I can see the kind of damage you're doing. All right, so
My roll is good, right?
yeah. So wait, this isn't our house. Smash! The snake just hauls off and punches the person in the face. Hard. If you want, you are capable of performing a double strike whenever you punch, like just as like a basic thing. So like you punch twice if you want to. Oh, you need to roll another attack roll.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah, I can do that. That's
because you're
5, correct?
yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay.
Oh, God. So actually, there you roll 2d4s and add your +3 to it because you crit. Alright. So you deal 15 damage with your fists. Look at what does that look like? Is it like a haymaker into like an uppercut, or what? What are you doing to this poor person?
This is beautiful.
Okay, give me a minute to think. Oh, what would it just be? I kind of want to see it as like a falcon punch.
Okay, alright.
Just like this big. It's like, good night.
Good night, Nancy. Alright, so to me, this is what it looks like. I'm just going to describe this to you. So, wham! The door flies down. Hey, honey, I'm home. The guy picks up a frying pan. Is like, "What are you doing? Get out of here!" And then the wizard comes in. Wait a second. This isn't our house. Which the guy's like, huh? Like he's completely dumbfounded by this. When like up from nowhere in like complete cartoon fashion, it's uppercut snake. Which spins down into like a revved up punch, and it's something essentially like you're like, say goodnight, Gracie. Say goodnight, Gracie, and he's just like, good night, Gracie, and you just knock his lights out, and he's straight down. Because apparently you two both belong in film during like the 1940s. Okay.
What can I say? I like it old school.
So
Enough of this talk. Let's get down to business.
you
To
have
defeat the
leveled the
Huns?
poor fellow. It's time to get down to business. Yes. The Huns will fear you.
Thank you.
So you've got a completely unconscious person lying on the floor, frying pan splayed out there, just flopped down. And you've got the insides of what looks like relatively a low-level peon's domicile. A house barely fit for slaves.
Alright, so I start searching around for anything fishy.
The guy on the floor fishing, right there.
Well,
Is the guy fishing?
the other guy obviously went somewhere, so
It's true.
I want to find where he went.
Investigation checks will help you to sort this house.
Alright, who has really good investigation?
I should.
I have a moderately okay investigation.
I have +4.
I got +2.
Oh. Because I was gonna ask if we wanted
to
to
have
have
you guys.
one person be the main person, then have everyone else roll 8 and other checks.
Do you want to be the main person and we'll
Okay.
add 8 to you?
Sure.
Do the aid thing. All right, so Hannah and Anna will both roll 8 and other checks.
Okay.
16. You beat the 10. Good job.
Alright. So, with advantage.
That was Hannah's investigation roll with the 10 as well?
Yeah, that was me, yeah.
Yeah, that was her.
Well, then we're going to say this because you guys are being helpful to each other. I'm going to give you another roll, like a third roll,
Okay.
as though you had double the advantage.
Double advantage.
Well, that was
Much
triple
better.
advantage, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
That is fine. The 15 was the third roll anyway, so it's the highest one, which produces a 19 result. You heard furniture being moved, so your immediate thought is move all the furniture. And you have several very strong people around. One of them half your size.
Where's Weston in all this?
I don't know. I think Darkesh is somewhere, but I don't know where. So you begin moving things. The table. There's a rug under the table. There's a bookcase. And when you move the bookcase, you find a trapdoor.
Oh, never mind.
Well, not a trapdoor, but a door hidden, if you will, low to the ground, made of wood, hinged in the wall, where doors usually occupy space.
Might be where the other one went.
Trapdoor?
It's not very secret anymore. In fact, if the bookcase hadn't been there, it wouldn't have been a secret at all.
Alright.
Alright, let's knock on the door.
Like, dwarves make secret doors where you can't even see them. This is a pitiful excuse for a secret door.
Secret tunnel.
Oh, master.
Alright. I just look at the other guy. I just look at the other guy and I go, do we want to either take him with us or tie him up?
That's what I was just about to ask.
We could skin him right here. Blake
That-
comes
that-
out was like ready for like a blood ritual.
I just raised my eyebrow at so cool. Like that is an option, but we may need him as a bargaining chip.
At that point, the bloodlust in Shulkil's eyes kind of died down. And he kind of mutters something under his breath about humans and humanoids and all that. Being no fun.
Before I forget, I do walk over to I kind of got high on our grand.
I hand him
success
back
in
to you
getting
without
down to the
even
bar.
looking at him.
He's kind of bug-eyed.
I know the wizard is rude, David Charles. Set him back on my shoulder.
All right. So are we
David Charles' eyes are locked on the snake.
Are we tying?
Oh!
Are we tying him up, or are we? taking him with us?
Or both. They do not have to
vote,
be mutually exclusive.
I vote we tie him up and gag him before bringing him along with us.
All right, sounds good.
He is a heavy person. He looks like he weighs maybe 300 pounds. He's like 7 foot tall. A lot of blubber.
Sure doesn't eat all his limbs.
You know, on second thought, why don't we tie him up and leave him behind?
Why don't we tie him up, put it, and leave him inside of the trap door, tied up and gagged, so in case anyone walks in here, they don't immediately see him.
Notably, unless you leave someone behind, the door will be exposed ere you go through it. Also, there is no longer a way to close the door to this house.
Yeah!
Oh.
Alright, fine, whatever. Tie him up, and leave him. Let's just head inside.
I was under the impression that we were in a hurry.
And you did that.
Knock the door down, knock out the guy, go in, save the girl, go out. We'll be done in 5 minutes.
I just have a look of amateurs on my face.
there's the seasoned adventurer who's like, God, I'm working with amateurs.
Yes, and he just goes, I will work on communicating my desires better next time. Let's move.
I just imagine he's saying that through like gritted teeth.
Oh, he is.
It's so much the throw yourself in next time to Gandalf to Pippin talk.
Next time, won't you put yourself standing rid of us? Your stupidity.
It's that.
Except everyone's Pippin in this case.
Everyone is Pippin.
Where is Darkesh? Darkesh, did he leave us again? Did he say BRB?
He did.
No, he was back because he sent that thing of Gandalf.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep, I was just listening to that again. Every time Joel like says something witty and silly, I'm just gonna play that video over and over on my screen. He's like, I got him again, guys.
I feel like
jazz party in his own head.
it would be amazing to edit this down to like the highlights and just have that like after every one of his. It's just the da, 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 da. Yeah, that'll be good. All right. Anyway, it is almost 11 o'clock. You guys are entering into the dungeon. The donjon. So I am going to call it here for tonight.
All right, I am making a prediction.
Yeah.
Okay, who wants to bet that if we would have gone in through the other place, somehow we would have found the secret door into this house?
You know what? I'm willing to get behind that bet.
I mean, unless Aaron, just wants to mess with me now by completely changing it just to mess with me, but...
Guys, you had a second dungeon ready for you.
Do you want the honest answer?
Sure. I'm just curious.
They are both entrances to the same dungeon.
That's what I figured.
I